Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Elevated 8. We're all very excited to bring this wonderful interview to you today. We're going to be talking with Sven Glass. So let's get right into it. We're going to jump with Steve first, and then we'll do that interview.
What up, what up, what up? Elevate, mind, body, spirit, and welcome to Elevated 8. Anyways, I'm really excited about tonight. Yesterday, we just packed up one of these Sven pieces. Chris is going to talk with him tonight, and this dude is, the attention to detail is amazing. The flowers and all that stuff, you got to check them out. It's SVEN. Go follow him at Instagram. Man, like I don't even know what to say. You got to check it out. Check out his work. It's fire. I'm really excited that he took some time to come hang out with us and just let us know who he is, what he's doing, and why he's doing it. And it's really cool. And why did I start here? I want to let you guys know I've been working on our Elevate Mind, Body, Spirit. And this is our first run of the Elevate Mind. Then we got Body with Lou Ferrigno, aka the Hulk. And then we got the Spirit, and we're going with chakra stuff on that. It really holds solid, I feel, for Spirit. So check them out. We got a smoking deal on them right now. It's fresh drop. Anyways, elevate yourself. Mind, body, spirit. You are freaking important and the most important person to you. So elevate that. Peace out, and let's check out Sven.
All right, thanks, Steve. That was super awesome. And now we're going to get into it with our interview with the one and only Sven Glass. How's it going, man? How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Good to be
Heck yeah.
here.
Yeah, we're super happy to have you joining us today. I'm super excited for this. Let's get right into it. How did you get started blowing glass, and when?
I got started officially in 2010, and I dabbled with it about 10 years before then, and really, I've always been friends with Yushin through just we've been skateboard buddies growing up,
Oh, nice.
and
Nice.
yeah, he obviously has had a huge head start in the glass game. So I mean, when I first met him, he was already blowing glass, and it was so long ago. He was like doing production and stuff back then. But we would go to New York City and skateboard there during the summers and work over at the Renaissance Festival over there.
Very
And
cool.
that's where I was first exposed to glass blowing through him, and I thought it was super mesmerizing. And I was like, oh yeah, I could, maybe one day I would try to do that or whatever. But then life happened, and we kind of went our separate ways. And I moved out to the West Coast, and we didn't really see each other for about 10 years. And I was living in San Francisco and making skateboard videos at the time, and was looking for something extra to do to kind of just stretch my creativity a bit. And we started hanging out at around the same time as well. And he was showing me some pieces that he was making, and it just was like really amazing to see the type of stuff that he was making.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure compared to like what you had seen a few years prior with like production work compared to what Yushin was making by 2010. I'm
yeah,
sure
it was completely different. And of course, 10 years had passed, so go figure, right?
yeah, of
Um,
course.
so I was like, man, can you sort of teach me how to do this? I'd like to, get in on a little bit of this glass blowing stuff. And he was like, for sure, man. Come on up to Oregon and visit me sometime, and I'll see if I can get you started. So I saved a bunch of money and moved up to Oregon, and got my start in his shop, and been going full time ever since. It's been a real life changer.
Yeah, absolutely. That leads me right into my next question, which was, did you have a mentor when you were starting out? And it sounds like you had a very good one.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him too. I moved into a house with him um, in this area of Grants Pass called Onion Mountain, and at the time, Darby and Banjo were both living in Grants Pass, um, so they were able to serve as mentors to a certain degree. But who was actually living at the Onion Mountain house with me was Eugene and Nady. Biskind,
Yeah,
and
Navy Love. Yeah.
yeah, Nady Love and Jameson, um, and Yushin's brother Shen, who is a completely amazing person, an amazing artist, glassblower in his own right too.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I sort of became like the orphan, and they just showed me all these techniques to help get me started. And you know I still made production for years. So it's not like they were just like, oh yeah, here's like this special key or whatever, because there is no special key. You really just got to put in the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
um,
special key is just time and work.
exactly. And they got me off to a really good start. They helped me to avoid some mistakes that could have stunted my growth for several years, and I'm eternally grateful for that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an amazing experience and place to get to grow and start your glass career or glass journey, I guess. Do you have any crazy stories from that house full of glass blowers?
Oh my God. I don't know if which ones are appropriate, which ones aren't, but um, it was well, I can tell you that one of the things that really affected me was just being in that kind of creative environment.
Yeah,
And I was already doing creative work, making skateboard videos, and um, I've always been a musician, so that's sort of been a part of a creative path too. But
yeah,
I never really took on the idea that I was going to you know create a career path for myself based off of something that's just completely 100% creative. And I remember after getting my hands wet with the glass, making a few marbles or whatnot, and discovering, oh wait, so yeah, you just put it in the flame and you start doing stuff and things happen. And I remember realizing one morning I woke up and I thought, man, like I can create a future where my job is literally to wake up and ask myself, like, what am I gonna challenge myself with today creatively, and come up with something, you know, that I've never thought of before.
yeah,
And
and it's
it's a
100% on your terms too.
yeah, and it's a completely different way of thinking, um, coming from a life of waking up on someone else's clock, and being able to be creative to a certain extent, but mainly for their for a boss's promotion or whatever.
Yeah,
um, so that was a huge life changer too, to really
definitely.
experience that.
Yeah, to see the possibilities that you could have and the freedom that you could have with a
Yeah, and
career
to
like
be
this.
surrounded by people who were so much more developed than I was in that aspect, really helped build confidence in myself that, okay, well, these guys are doing it, so it's obviously possible. So if
Yeah,
I just apply myself, I could probably get there too. And I think that's something that, um, overall was like a big life changer thing for me, not just in glass, but in the skateboarding world too. If you surround yourself with people that um, are, for lack of a better term, more or less where you want to be in some aspect, then it
yeah,
really helps with your level of confidence and knowing that you can make the thing happen, because you can see the
definitely.
proof right in front of you, and it's really a motivating factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, have you had a chance to collab with any of those cool artists you started out with recently?
Not so much recently, because we've moved to different states. Well, Jameson still lives in Oregon, but nevertheless, we're a few hours apart from each other.
Yeah,
So all of us have collabed, not so much very recently. Just geographically, it's sort of challenging, but I try to get out to Colorado once a year or once every other year at least, and you know, sort of foster those opportunities.
yeah, absolutely. have you ever taken any like formal classes or anything like that?
Not really. Yeah, I have to say it's mainly just been trial and error and a few helpful tip helpful tips from my friends along the way.
Yeah.
Um, and there have been some formal classes like when I first got started, Yushin was like, "All right, this is how you make a spoon," and he was over my shoulder and he was like, "All right, now move to the left a little bit." Like, "Oh, no, 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 oh, back to the right, back to the right." And I'm like, "Oh my god." And I actually made a spoon. Of course, I couldn't do it right away, right after that, because he wasn't right there telling me what not to do. But
Yeah, of
so
course.
a lot of the lessons that I had were in the form of demos, and I think that teaching yourself how to learn is really a valuable thing that can be more helpful than what you're actually like watching to get the information from. And I've been trying to hone in on how to really maximize that over the years. But when I first got started, it was basically like, okay, as soon as I got done watching him do something, whether it was Yushin or Nady or whoever, I would immediately go to the torch and try to replicate what I saw. And I noticed that I thought I remembered everything, but maybe a week later they would be doing something similar, and I'd watch it again, and I would see so many other things that I didn't see before. Um, and it just reminded me of how much how much practicing what you see really comes in. And I don't know, glass is just an amazing thing. It just goes so deep with the techniques. I mean, in between every one is another one that you didn't see before, and once you get these two, you're like, oh my god, that one in the middle, I didn't know that. That's why my thing's all lopsided.
Yeah, absolutely. Glasses, it's a deep, deep rabbit hole, that's for sure.
It is, yeah.
Um, so you're relatively well known for making really beautiful glass flowers. Where did that inspiration come from?
Oh, it it started at Onion Mountain after a year or two of living there and just kind of training myself in this lifestyle, basically. And at times, an artist would come and take a lesson from Yushin. And at one point in time, an artist, Gingerella or Ginger ELA,
Yeah,
and she was, a really influential glass blower for me at the time because she was doing these floral sculptures and things like that. And you know, I was still so new to the scene at that time that I'd seen a lot of things, but only in like a certain area, and I hadn't really yet been exposed to that kind of thing. And um, it just sort of opened my mind more to the possibilities of, hey, you can actually be a little bit more sculptural and still make it applicable to the pipe scene. Um, and there's something, there's just natural beauty in flowers. And at that time in my life, I felt like I was kind of, you know, metamorph metamorphosizing in
yeah,
a way. And like my soul was sort of blooming in a sense. And I kind of drew from that idea too. And just kind of felt like making flowers would be a good way for me to express what I felt like I was going through at the time. And it was such a overall positive experience for me too. I felt like this is also a way that I can put that idea and that energy into my work, and hopefully get that across to other people as well, so they can sort of feel that when they see the work and can experience some of that for themselves in their own
yeah,
life.
yeah, absolutely. Flowers definitely represent a lot to a lot of different people. Everybody, basically. Everybody has
Yeah,
a flower means something to everybody in some sort of sense.
Yeah, so I became friends with Ginger, and um, we would hang out with her and her family down in the East Bay every once in a while when I'd go down there to visit my skateboard buddies. And one time she gave me a demo on how to make some flowers, and you know that pretty much was it from there. And I just started trying it out, and they looked, of course, super janky at first when I was doing it,
Yeah,
but they looked great to me when I was making them. Of course,
definitely.
looking back on them at some of my first stuff, I'm like, oh man, I made that. But
Yeah,
uh,
I think every glass blower has that feeling like, hey, is that
yeah,
really I did that?
but but it's like, you know, it's all just part of the process, and that's something that I've learned a lot too. Is just trusting the process, um, and having patience. Of course, with glass, you have to be really patient,
Of course, of course.
and
What sort? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be patient.
Absolutely. What sort of challenges arise from working with such thin glass when you make those flowers?
um, well, there's a level of fragility that you have to deal with, and I've learned a lot through making mistakes with that in the past, um, about how to bridge the fragile pieces together in a way that's aesthetically still pleasing. And working with the mini torch with those tiny little tips that everyone puts in a drawer and forgets about because it's like, well,
Yeah,
I can't even see the flame. It's so small. But um, those have proven to be essential for me to get in there between, where there's only like a 2 millimeter gap, and I want to put a little dab of glass there to bridge two petals together or something. And it makes a huge difference in the overall structural strength of the piece. And learning how to compensate for its natural fragility has been the biggest challenge, really. Um, One of the pluses to working with really thin glass is that you don't have to warm it up as long in the kiln before you start working it. You can kind of just work on it outside of the kiln the whole time and just heat up little sections as you need to go. And when you're ready to assemble it onto a bigger piece or whatever, then you need to heat it all up at the same time and go in for that one hit all at the same time. But you can really just get into like a zen like flow state of mind, just sitting there, just like working away. And I think in a lot of ways it's probably similar to working on a filicello, which Yushin is obviously a master of.
yeah,
I never really got too far into um, the drawing aspect of glass, but I think that is probably a similar mind state that you can get into. Just working
yeah,
with the little stringers and going along and concentrating and getting super close. And
yeah. Absolutely, hitting that flow state. Um,
mhm.
have you had any period in your career where you shifted your focus to a different technique or style entirely?
um, well, I think the biggest shift, I'm still making flowers, and as the sculptural thing that I do outside of course, just making vessels and things. I think one of the biggest shift that came for me in the last few years was learning how to really put the floral work inside of glass, and learning how awesome that can really be as a finished product, because you no longer have to worry so much about it. Um, I can ship it somewhere and just pack it like a regular piece and not have to worry about, you know, or the detailed plucking of a pelican to get, like, oh, you have to put it in this way, with this angle, otherwise you'll, catch this petal on this thing, and or if you pick it up wrong, you could snap something off, and that's just not sustainable with glass work that's meant to be handled.
Yeah.
It's okay for something that's supposed to just be looked at, but if you're going to be passing around, in order to really truly appreciate it, something has to be done. So that was a big shift for me, realizing um, how much more influence my pieces could have on myself and on the community as a whole if I just approached it a little bit differently and put the fragile stuff, protect it so that can be really appreciated for a long period of time.
Yeah, that's very cool. Would you say is your favorite type of piece to blow? Like a pipe, a rig, pendants?
Um, I've been getting into recyclers lately, and that's been sort of a mind expanding experience. Just with the addition of that extra return tube, it's like, whoa, it's a whole new thing. And so
Yeah.
that's been really exciting for me. I haven't made too many of them yet, but I got a couple designs that I'm working on, and that's what that's where I feel like I'm currently really excelling as far as pushing myself to do something new and stretching my boundaries is working out the functionality and the size, the ratio sizes of how to make these um, designs really function super super good, and at the same time find a way to put some flowers inside and push myself in that direction too. Um, of course, I still making pendants, and I love doing that. It's like getting back to the roots of a classic design that I've done for 5 years, and I've always felt like I'm improving on it every time a little bit. But lately, it's really been the making the recycler rigs where I feel like I'm onto something that's really novel for me as a glass blower. Obviously, everybody's been doing recyclers for a long time, but I'm really late to that train.
Eh,
but
But
but yeah, I feel like that's what gives me that level of excitement that like if you're skateboarding or snowboarding and you learn a new trick and you feel like something clicked and a whole new world of possibilities opens up. And so that's where I'm at with the recyclers right now, and it's really motivating
that's
and
awesome.
really exciting for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, what would you say is your favorite color of glass to work with?
I've been working with I think bright transparent colors are my favorite right now. I feel like this has sort of been a constantly changing thing for me. Um, but I don't want to say it's because it's like a new thing and it's hype, but it is a new thing. The technology for making new glass color is uh, is amazing, and that's the reason why it's popular. And it's amazing to me too to see new color combinations that I can come up with. Um, so the really the molten aura glass colors have
Nice.
been a really exciting thing for me lately. Seeing how far I can stretch those colors to obtain certain results, and um, the quality of them is exciting. It's just exciting to see where color has gone in the last 10 years since I started, and the level of quality has risen to a degree that you can do things now that you couldn't pull off as nicely before, and that just turns into more more creative possibilities for us as artists. So
Nice. Very cool. Do you have a least favorite color or a color that you won't work with at all?
um well, there's colors that I certainly haven't given as much of a chance to shine in my palette, and I think they would be more the muddier looking colors, um, the ones that kind of look dark no matter what you do to them.
Yeah.
Um, I tend to you know go towards more bright colors. Um, so I wouldn't say there's a color in particular, and of course there's applications for dark colors that are perfectly amazing. especially
Yeah.
with some sculptural stuff. But you know, mostly I think it's the bright colors that I'm attracted to a lot more for sure. So I guess to answer your question, anything really dark and muddy, I immediately kind of like take it out of the equation unless there's like something special that arises. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to make a piece of wood with glass, so I obviously need a dark color, and
Yeah.
it's going to be amazing, or something like that. But even black, I used to use a lot of black just to create more contrast. Um, but I haven't even been messing around with black too much lately. And nothing against black, of course, but
Yeah. It's just not what where you're from. I guess not what excites you to put into your work. I mean, I guess flowers. You don't tend to see too many black and dark colored flowers. It
no.
makes sense that you would lean towards the bright and bright
I
colors.
Around Halloween last year though, I did make a black flower, and it,
Oh,
it felt
nice.
pretty cool and spooky and everything. But yeah, something like that only appeals to a small percentage of people, and I tend to like what most people like, thankfully. Um, so yeah.
All right. All right. What would you say is the most difficult piece that you've ever attempted?
Oh, that would be making the Tesla coil piece
Nice.
with
Yeah.
Malachias.
Yeah. I was
That
gonna bring that up.
yeah,
Gonna say that looks pretty challenging.
yeah, that that was a period of time around 2015, and I was living in Colorado at the time in Evergreen, but I was in Oregon for the summer and working with Joey on a couple. Or we made a few different pieces, three or four pieces during that time. Um, but yeah, we just got this crazy idea of how cool it would be to do a piece about Tesla. And I was like, why don't we just build a fucking Tesla coil? And it was kind of like, like, yeah, right, kind of idea. But I was like, wait a minute. And I started like researching it online and realizing actually there's a whole community of people out there that just build Tesla coils and just totally do that shit. So I thought, hey, like we could do that too and make it into a glass piece. So not knowing very much about what we were doing, we slaved over this, you know, thing for like 2 months, 2 or 3 months, it seems like. And,
Wow.
working on other things in between, of course, but, creating this, just the Tesla coil part of it was kind of really overwhelming. And, I'm teaching myself how to solder as we're like putting together these pieces. Um, there's these kits that you can buy that come with, all the transistors and all the little things that you need to put it together, but you got to still put it together yourself. And, you know, if you don't, if you're not like a Tesla coil creating expert, there's a lot of hurdles you have to cross along the way, and hopefully that you don't kill yourself in the process.
That's like
Um,
asking somebody who's into Tesla coils to make a glass piece.
yeah, it's like, all right, well, yeah, give me a few years and I'll get back to you. I'll probably have something by then.
Yeah.
Um, so with some perseverance and some little bit of luck here and there, and definitely a lot of hard work and just good times,
Yeah.
we created this Tesla coil, and that was definitely the most challenging and awesome piece that I've ever made with anybody.
Nice.
And yeah, it's that thing is fucking amazing, dude. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, it's a piece we made, it's amazing. I'm just like, dude, it's a Tesla coil. It's
Yeah.
fucking rad.
It, and it is amazing. I can say that without bias. That is
Like,
an amazing piece of glass art and technology. But
yeah, like when you turn that thing on, like you can just feel it like throughout your whole body. It's just like, and I think a lot of people have probably experienced being around a Tesla coil, especially if they've been to Burning Man in the last 10 years. There's pin some kind of Tesla coil thing out there. But um, for me, that was the first time I'd ever really experienced it. So getting to make something like that and learn so many new things during the process, and then experience it in action and watch the fluorescent lights on the ceiling turn on by themselves when we flip the switch is pretty mind blowing. And then, of course, there was some glass involved too, so that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's
But the
a
Tesla
beautiful
coil
glass.
part of it was like, and he's such a good sculptor. I think he's the best sculptor out there for sure.
I
And
might have to agree with you. I might have to agree with
yeah,
you.
absolutely. I mean, he just creates these spitting images of people, and he's the best, man. I'm
Yeah,
really fortunate to have a friendship and a working relationship with him.
that's very cool.
Glass blowing.
Yeah. Do you do collaborations often?
Um, I do, not super often. I kind of live out in the woods, as you can see, so
Yeah.
um, I don't often have people rolling through. Um, but occasionally somebody will hit me up, and they'll be in the Eugene area, and of course, anybody's welcome to hit me up. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to working on projects with people, um, whether I've met you before or haven't. So don't be bashful if you want to come out and hang out or whatever. Always down for that. I usually work on a piece with somebody a couple times a year, and people send me stuff too, and I try to get that done when I can. It's a lot harder for me to focus on a collab when the person's not here, though. So sometimes,
Yeah.
just a warning: if somebody sends me something, it might be like a year or two before the piece is done. So
Hey,
I'm still working on some pieces that are in that category.
nice. So we should stay tuned and keep our eyes peeled for some awesome collabs coming out soon.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
Very
I hope
cool.
so. I hope I get around to finishing these pieces.
All right. You mentioned the Tesla Tower with Malachias. A couple of very cool ones that I noticed that I'd seen on your page were the collab with Skaz and Baked Creations glass. That one was really
Hmm.
cool, and the Lace Face collab.
Yeah, and the
Me.
collab with Bear Mountain Studios.
Oh, that's right. We have that here at our shops. We'll superimpose the image over the interview here, but we have that here at our downtown location.
Awesome. Yeah, like all those collabs you just mentioned and the Bear Mountain Studios were all really big mind expanding projects for me that took, an immense amount of time. And just being up for like, you know, I don't know how many hours I was up for, but I can tell you how many hours I was asleep for. And it was, you know, somewhere in the single digits, maybe 3, 4, or
Wow.
none for
Oh my goodness.
several days at a time. And just like getting focused on a project to where like the rest of life just starts to fall apart, and you start going to shit because all you're doing is working on one thing. It's like, oh damn, that's right, I haven't eaten in a couple days, I should probably do that. Like um but yeah, those collabs have been huge, um game changers as far as how to look at glass and how to apply um, different techniques together, and the friendships that are created along the way are really the best part of it. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, those are some good ones for sure.
Um, so I have this question down here. I mean, we kind of already answered it, but what's the most amount of time that you spent on a single piece?
Yeah, for collabs, that would be definitely, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
With the Malachias one?
Yeah, and it wasn't like straight 100%, working on it and
Yeah, it
nothing
wasn't like
else.
full days.
But it was overwhelming to the point where it's like, all right, like we've been soldering stuff for days now. Like we like have to just start doing some other stuff. Otherwise, we're going to go crazy and
Yeah.
still have to come up with some money to continue to feed ourselves along the way. It's like, oh my God, oh, we'll be done with this in a week tops, like for sure. And like 3 weeks later, we're like, yeah, it's probably going to be another few weeks. And every couple weeks that goes by, it's like, yeah, realistically, we're a couple weeks away. And we had made some friends with some Tesla coil building folks at, you know, with the the people that we got the kit from. Um, and we were constantly corresponding with them and being like, all right, when we do this, this happens, and we don't know what to do, and because we don't know what we're doing. And they're like, all right, well, it's either this or this or that. And we're like, all right, we'll get back to you. And like a week later, we're like, all right, so we did that, and then this happened, and now it's doing this. And they're like, all right, man, it just took freaking forever because we were doing it for the first time. Um,
Yeah.
but aside from that, there's been pieces that I've worked on for 3 or 4 weeks at a time. Um, making big floral arrangements, vases with flowers in them and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes if I'm working on a rig, it can take, um, a week or two, depending on how deep I go into it. Especially putting on, incorporating floral stuff with it,
Yeah.
and learning how to do that along the way. Sometimes can take a lot of time, and occasionally things fall apart, and it's like, all right, well, I have to remake half of this piece because that happened, and I won't do that again.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, most of the time, I mean, I'm just a slow glass blower in general. You know, I just chalk it up to having extra patience, but some people would say that I'm actually just really slow at everything. but but yeah, I take my time with everything that I make, and I try to make everything that I make, even if it's the most simplest thing. I try to make it the best that I've ever done that before, because that's what motivates me, is to feel like I'm actually progressing. And if I don't feel like that, then I'm like, what am I really doing this for? Because I'm trying to expand as a person on my own journey, and just of becoming whoever I'm continuing to become, and using art as um, as a path for that. So yeah, I try to do my best with everything, and I take my time, and I'm sure I would be um, living a little bit larger now if I didn't have quite as much patience, but that's okay because it's all about the journey, not the
Absolutely.
destination.
Absolutely. Um, so Eugene is kind of like a glass mecca. Could you tell us a little bit about the glass scene up there and what it's like?
It's awesome up here. There's so many glass blowers and so much talent, so many really amazing people, um, that live here now or have lived here, and it's just really cool to know that I have a community of glass blowers, you know, a half hour drive away from me, and that's been a huge influence on. It's been like a support group, really, and making all these friends since I moved here has been really amazing. And Colorado is really similar too, and probably to in a certain way, it's even more in that direction. It's hard to really compare them because they're sort of like apples and oranges, but they both have so much talent and so many people, um, creating amazing art, and with glass and with other things too. But yeah, living in Eugene, and it's kind of cool to know that this is sort of an area that has sort of always served as a hub for glass art, um, whether it's been boro art or soft glass. And
Yeah.
it kind of feels like being a part of something. Um, but in the broader scheme of things, the movement as a whole has become worldwide. So as long as you're doing it, you're part of the movement. It doesn't really matter exactly where you're at, which is something I love about glass too, which was one of the things that attracted me to it when I first decided to really get started with Yushin, because I realized, hey, if I can pull this off and make a little bit of money with it at the same time, I could literally live wherever I wanted. I could just put my stuff in a trailer and go out into the woods for a few weeks and continue to blow glass out there. And it's easier said than done, but it's a
Absolutely.
realistic possibility.
Yeah.
Being able to control your life in that kind of way.
Yeah, definitely. Um, what other sorts of things do you do in your free time besides glass blowing?
I play a traditional Chinese instrument called the guchen, and it's like in the movie Kung Fu Hustle, where those two guys in that fight scene are playing that instrument, and it's got all these strings, and they're like throwing
Yeah.
like spirits and stuff. That's basically the type of instrument that it is, and it's got 21 strings that go horizontally across the top of it, and you press down on the strings to bend the pitch, and it has a really, really beautiful sound. I've been learning that from a master who happens to live a couple hours south of me, and that's been a big thing in my life for the last 8 years, I'd say. And I've, you know, sorry, getting a little sidetracked there, but
Oh, no worries.
it's a really relaxing. I mean, it can be a really, really relaxing thing to listen to. And what I found is that um, it can really help people that are, suffering with anxiety or pain to kind of just like relax and open up. Um, so I started taking this course to learn how to play for people and who are in the hospital and who are in
Very
hospice
cool.
or who are dying or whatever, or
Wow.
even if they're just like waking up from some gnarly surgery and
Yeah.
the doctors know that they're going to be freaked out, when they wake up because of whatever. Um, so there's professional musicians that do this type of thing, and they usually play the harp, the upright
Yeah.
style harp. Um, but I found that the guchen can be applied in the same way, and um, I thought what a great way to be able to help other people with the music, and it's still soothing for me at the same time. It kind of feels like it's medicine for my soul as well as other people who are able to hear it too. But um, it had been suggested to me several times when I started playing that, oh, you should play this for people, you know, that are in these circumstances. And finally, I decided to do it with, a friend sort of sponsored me to get into a program, and I've been doing that, or I've been training in the program for 4 years, and I was this close, like 1 month away to getting my certification that I could actually get hired onto a hospital or a hospice center,
Yeah.
and then the virus hit, and they're like, "All
Oh.
right, nobody except if you're actually a doctor or something."
Oh, wow.
So I was already doing like internships at a bunch of places in town and getting my required hours in to get the certification when that hit, and it kind of put a halt on that. But I'm sure that'll go back to normal
Yeah.
um,
And then you'll
in a
have all this
year or
time that you've
so, and
practiced too.
yeah, and then I'll be able to have that as a legit side gig, to apply those skills to and help people out at the same time.
That's very awesome.
Um,
Do you record any of it or put it out online at all?
Yeah, I actually have an Instagram that I created just for me playing the music, and there's a link to it on my main page, Sven
Cool.
Glass.
Very cool.
It's called Guchen Sven, and yeah, there's a variety of different stuff on there. I've been learning how to integrate it into bluegrass music because it's an acoustic string instrument, and it it's a really unique sound, but it can be worked in there and sound really amazing with Western music. But I play a lot of traditional Chinese style music too, and then I create my own stuff and make recordings like you were asking. Like I do some recording and occasionally come out with a an album. And
Very
I have
cool.
some recordings that I made earlier this year that I've been putting on the back burner, but I just have to master them and make it official or whatever, so they sound as
Yeah.
good as they can, and then I'll have some material to put out there. But yeah, that's the other. Glass is really important to me. I'd say that playing this instrument and the things that it has done for me, and of course for other people too, have experienced. This is, those are the two biggest things in my life that you know give me purpose and keep me moving forward. Is these two creative outlets. I can serve myself to these things that feed my soul and allow me to be creative, and at the same time um, help other people and inspire people, and just make more happy people out there in the world.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, have you ever competed at events or like glass blowing, like champs or something like that?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. Have I been?
Any competitions like champs or anything like that?
No, I've never done any glass competitions before. Um, I've been to them as a
Nice.
spectator. I've never actually participated in a competition. I'd like to sometime. I think that would be cool. It's sort of an intimidating idea because I know I like to go slow. But I think if I was pressured, I could whip something amazing together in a short amount of time. It
Yeah.
seems like a stretch of the imagination for me to even say that out loud. Um, but yeah, I love going to events and reuniting with community and friends that I may only ever see at those events too.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
really looking forward to things getting back to normal, to somewhat normal, so that we can go back to Vegas and hang out at these events with all of our friends. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Definitely. That's something I'm looking forward to as well. I'm sure everybody is.
Mm.
um, what sort of things can we look forward to in the future for Sven Glass?
Um, look for more rigs, more recycling rigs that have flowers inside. I feel like I've stumbled on to like a new era of pipe styles that I can make with that. So I'm really excited about how that's going to develop. Um, and yeah, that's the only thing I can really predict right now.
For
Is
sure.
I've been making these columbine flowers, and
Yeah.
which is a Colorado state flower, but
Yeah.
it's also
Absolutely.
all over Oregon, and it's my favorite flower, a really exotic, alien-looking type of flower. So I've learned how to make those, and one of my rig designs has a columbine flower inside of a sphere, um, where the water collects before it drains back down, and so that's been pretty exciting. I've only made a couple of those so far, so I still have a little bit of learning to do, but realizing that I can put that inside of a sphere has just been like, oh wow, like I
It's
can
like
actually
opening a door in
apply
a long
that.
hallway.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just making more rigs, I'd say, is what I can see in my near future, and
Awesome.
becoming a part of the recycler glassblower community
Yeah.
finally.
Definitely. Well, we look forward to seeing you grow within the design of the recyclers. Um, one of my last questions here I have, do you still have the same love and passion that you had when you started blowing glass?
Absolutely. Um, Without a doubt. It's like what I was saying before about doing the best that I can, even if I'm doing something really simple and basic. Um, like I occasionally do some production work, and it's like if you've ever had some experience with martial arts and you do like a form or kata,
Yeah.
um, it's kind of like that. That's the way I see it. It's okay, like this thing that I'm making might be a really basic thing that I don't have to think too hard about, but it still involves some foundational techniques, and there's no reason why I shouldn't take this opportunity to really build a stronger foundation. So it's like every time, I'm making something, even if it's really basic, it's like doing the kata and like going through the motion, and you know, um, that's what makes it, enjoyable and meditative for me as a process as a whole, is to, um, just really, instead of being like, oh, I've done this a million times and I can't stand doing this, or this is boring. It's like, no, this is an opportunity to meditate and become like a master at something over time.
Yeah.
And that has always been a feeling that I've always had since the beginning, especially in the beginning, because everything was brand new. And it's like, oh, I'm learning this for the first time. But there's always more to learn, in between every point is another point, and then in between those is another one, and once you get these two, you see more room to grow in there. And um, just trying to perfect the techniques and perfect the form of even something super basic, I think is just as important as trying to perfect just yourself as a person. And I kind of feel like that's sort of an extension of that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's great to hear. I mean, you're definitely not the only person who says yes, that they have the same amount of love and passion. But it's great to see that, like, you don't just say that yes, but you have like you reflect upon it, which is very awesome. Um, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
um Yeah, sure. I mean, if anybody's watching this and thinking about getting going in glass blowing, um or trying to reignite some creative flames with glass or anything else, I mean, I'd say that don't let anything hold you back. I think one of the main things that people get held back from, whether they realize it or not, is a lack of confidence. And in this life, anything is possible, and there's no reason to feel like, oh, it's too late to start doing this. Or I mean, I didn't start really blowing glass until I was 30, and I just turned 40. So it's already been 10 years, and I still feel like I just started. But yeah, I mean, I started really late. A lot of people started blowing glass when they were 15 or whatever. um, and now I'm learning a new language in my spare time too. I mean, there's really nothing to hold you back from accomplishing your goals if you just have start from a place of believing that you can accomplish things. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to tap into to your own potential. So I'd say just start with believing in yourself, and you can accomplish. You can become you know the best version of whoever whatever you're trying to do for yourself. You can always do your personal best eventually. Um, and reach a level of perfection and mastery in your own self if you start with believing that you can. And I think that's where a lot of people um, fall short in the beginning, and then they never take an opportunity to try something that could be a life changer, like glass and music has been for me. Both two things that I just started doing in the last 10 years. I've always been creative, of course,
Yeah.
but I never really applied myself until when I started with glass. And I've always been a musician, but I never really decided I'm going to really do this until I found that instrument. So I'd say the sky is the limit. You just got to believe in yourself, and you can reach your own personal level of mastery in whatever you want to do. So I'd say just go for it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much we really appreciate you joining us today. Everybody who's watching, give him a follow if you don't already follow him on Instagram at Sven Glass, and check out the music page as well. He mentioned in his bio up there. Well, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been a pleasure to be on and have an awesome conversation with you, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys sometime in the near future when I get down to Colorado Springs.
Back in Colorado.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. Well, thanks again, man. You have a great one.
All right. Have a great day.
You as well. See ya.
Man, that was a lot of fun. Thanks so much to Sven Glass for that awesome interview. We're going to jump over and talk to Elev8 Dolls now.
Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Teresa here with Elev8 Dolls. I just want to tell you that I'm super excited because we got all new apparel in. Got some new hoodies. Check this out. I love the way it's lower on the back so that the women with longer hair can still see the Elev8 Dolls. So we've also got pendants, grinders, vaporizers, glass. We've got whatever you want. The one thing I want to say is we also do cremation pendants. So any of you have animals that have passed or family that have passed and want to get that encapsulated in glass, hit us up. Anyway, we want to thank you all for being an Elev8 Doll. I would love to give you all a challenge and offer a prize to the one that hits me the most. If you could send me 3 sentences on why you want to be an Elev8 Doll or why you are an Elev8 Doll, and send me a picture of your face, I would love to post that up. The one that hits me the best, I'm going to send you a free t-shirt. The one thing I do want to say that being an Elev8 Doll has afforded me to be able to travel a lot this month. I've gone to Orlando and I've gone to Miami, all because I'm a brand ambassador with Elev8. When I go, I just show our gear, and when people purchase it, I earn money back. It's an awesome program, and there's 3 different tiers, so you can come in and just do pictures for us, or you can come in and go all the way. So hit us up in the DMs or go to elev8dolls.com to find out more information. Thank you guys. It's Teresa again, Elev8, mind, body, and spirit.
Thanks so much. Remember, if you guys want to be a part of Elev8 Dolls, just shoot us a DM or check out our website, elev8glassgallery.com. And now we're going to go check in with Elev8 veterans real quick.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's John with Elev8, and you know what? It's that time of year again. It's that time to treat your guys' self to something sweet, and I'm talking about getting yourself some premium glass. Go on, why don't you head on to elev8glassgallery.com and check out the stuff we got for sale. You could always also check out our Elev8 Veterans tab. You can pick yourself up a nice veteran support package, get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself some cool merch, and just help out the cause. So yeah, we'll see you guys.
Man, that was so much fun. Thank you so much again to Sven Glass for that amazing interview. And thank you so much to you guys for joining us for another episode of Elevated 8. We'll be back here again, same time, same place, for another awesome interview next week. We'll see you then. Elev8, mind, body, and spirit.